Well, that was interesting start, but we started nonetheless, and the lights flickering. Wow, it's going to be that kind of Sunday, folks. Welcome, good evening to another great episode of the Bodkin Show. I am your host, Bodkins, of course. Man, what a wild week 10 was it? 6 games had a game-winning field goal. Another 2 of them had a game-sealing interceptions. On the final drive. So as much as we said, hey, this week's games don't look to be played out very good between the two teams, but that's why they play the game, folks, because you just never know what's going to happen. There's some coaches on the hot seat, coaches making questionable decisions. Quarterbacks making decisions, players getting hurt. I mean, are the Vikings with Josh Dobbs going to make the playoffs? 49ers look back. What the hell is Bill Belichick thinking? I mean, so much to get into. Lions look for real, but they also only beat the Chargers. Aren't that good, but that was a fun game to watch. Man, help me break it all down is none other than our own Hall of Famer, Mr. Scott Cope.
Wow.
Scott, what's up, my man?
Not much. What an afternoon slate. Holy moly. Don't even take out any game. Seattle, Washington was great. Atlanta, Arizona was great. Dallas looked phenomenal.
I don't want to say Dallas did what they were supposed to. They were favored by 17 up. Let's not start beating the fucking drum on the Cowboys here.
But Brandon Cooks, 170 yards receiving today. Welcome back to the NFL, Brandon Cooks. It's nice you to join us for once. So, what a day.
Welcome back, Kyler Murray. He looked halfway decent, pretty decent against Atlanta. We'll talk about all these games and kind of break them down and ask some questions after each of them. But Scott, we started the morning in London before we went off air this morning. It was a close game, and the weird decision here by Bill Belichick, 2-minute drive. You bench Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. You bring in the Zap man, who hasn't thrown a pass since week 5. I'm firmly a believer Bill Belichick is now saying is putting a punt on the ball. Like why? Scott, why? What is this? What is the decision here? What's the mood like up there in the Northeast?
Top 5 draft pick for the first time in forever, I think.
Do you think Bill is saying, hey, we're going to lose and then I'm going to get out of here? That way the new coach can have his selection of quarterback. You think that's what's going on? I mean, that decision, the decision to pull Bailey Zappi or to pull Mac Jones and bring in Zappi and then the fake spike and he throws it, into 3 defenders. That makes no sense.
So you start the game off. Ramondre Stevens says 3 runs, first 3 carries for them, runs for 15 yards with a 10-yard run. He looked good. Bill Belichick said, thanks for coming, Ramondre. You go back to the bench, buddy. We'll put Zeke in. Zeke does nothing the next couple of carries. That was a curious decision. Then as I'm watching the game, I see Bailey Zappi warming up on the sideline. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? He comes back. He comes in the game with 2 minutes left to run a 2-minute drive. As you said, week 5 was the last time he was seen on the field. He's getting ready to leave, I think. I think him and Kraft have mutually decided we're done. That's it. It's a lost season. Let me go.
I don't get that decision at all. It's I just don't get the decision to pull Mac Jones. I get Mac Jones just threw a bad interception, and they were chewing his ass on the sideline, but to say, hey, we're going to go with a guy who's cold as ice, hasn't even sniffed the field in a couple weeks.
The sensible
thing, go with him the rest of the way.
The sensible thing to do would have been to start him in the fourth quarter, right when the fourth quarter started. That's the sensible thing to do. Instead, you're asking the guy to go in the last 2 minutes and go win a game that you haven't played in 5 weeks? Really?
Yeah.
So my assumption is that Bailey Zappi not coming out of the bye week for that.
That's what I was going to ask. It's got to be the Bailey. It's got to be the Bailey Zappi show the rest of the way, right?
Agreed. Agree 100%. It's got to be. I think Bill is just tired of watching Mac Jones not move the team into the end zone, and that's it. So I don't know what's going to happen with Mac Jones in the offseason. I have a feeling they're drafting a quarterback.
No matter who the coach is going to be, right? Whether it's Bill or
Mayo or an outside or Josh McDaniels. Heaven forbid it's him. But I mean, we talked about it this morning. He doesn't get another shot, I don't think. But could it be Bill O'Brien again? I don't know.
God, I mean, well, Bill O'Brien as the OC has not looked. He hasn't looked any worse. They've looked worse than they were last year at the offense.
Yeah, what were we saying before the season? Oh, they're good for 2 wins with Bill O'Brien. No, they're not. They're good for two less wins with Bill O'Brien. So it's bad. It's really bad up here. It really is.
I don't know if Bill's lost the fastball. Like I told you this morning, I think he needs to maybe he needs to hang it up for a year and kind of refresh the refresh. You know what I'm saying? Hit the reset button.
His decision making makes me believe he's never going to break Don Shula's record of 329. Not going to do it.
I had this thought when I was watching this game too. And I know it takes both, right? It does take both. It was Tom Brady and Bill, but if Tom Brady's not there, for the last 20 years or whatever, how long is Bill really the coach? And does he have how many Super Bowls does he have? Because it didn't work out good in Cleveland. His first, what did we see? The head coach for 2 years. It was his third year or second year in New England.
Third year when Brady became
you know what I mean? So, like, if it's not Brady, how long would he have been the coach for? And would have Brady been the successful somewhere else? It'll always be the question that's always up there. But, man,
there were rumors the seat was hot in that third year, that if he didn't make the playoffs, he was done. So that's where you can go with that. So
I believe that. They weren't like the best team in the world. Like they didn't, like, a lot of people weren't picking them to win the Super Bowl, and they came out of nowhere. They did. Just fans, shout out to my guys. They said CJ Stroud is him.
Certainly is.
Yeah, we'll talk about CJ. We'll talk about CJ here in just a minute. But I want to run through the stats here. This Colts Patriots game. Gardner Minshew, 18-28, 194 yards, 1 interception. Jonathan Taylor, 23 carries, 69 yards, the lone touchdown of the game. Michael Pittman, 8-84. Nothing else from anybody else. And then you get to the Patriots. Mac had 15-20, 170 yards, 1 interception. Bailey Zappi, 3-7, 25 yards, interception. Ramondre, 20 carries, 88 yards. Zeke had 13 carries for 54. I think, that's kind of what you want if you're the Patriots. You got one Ramondre to carry 20. Demario Douglas, 6 for 84. They failed to score a touchdown. I think this was like the third or fourth game, Scott. They failed to reach the end zone.
Yeah. I mean, you got Demario Douglas, number 1 receiver. You got the corpse of Juju out there. No Devontae Parker, no Kendrick Bourne, no anybody. Mike Gesicki caught the first pass for 11 yards. I don't know what he did the rest of the game, but it didn't seem like too much. It's just, I don't know what's going on with them. Bill's going to be Bill. He's going to do this stuff. I thought Kraft was behind this saving money, but obviously he's not. So I don't know. With Demario Douglas, I don't know what round draft pick he was. Is leading week 11. Week 10 rather. There's something wrong with this picture. So
yeah, it's bad in New England, and you got to look at. I know everything is. You want to give Bill time because he did win 7 Super Bowls, but it's gotten worse the last 3 years, right? You made the playoffs the first year with Mac Jones. Last year you barely missed the playoffs, and then this year you're not. I mean, there's nowhere where you're smelling the playoffs. See, look, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Mac Jones has got to be hoping he does not get his 5th year option picked up and gets out of here after this year or next year, because he's not going up as a quarterback. He's going down as a quarterback, and that never is a good thing in the NFL when you're regressing instead of progressing. So
they, in all honesty, they maybe only have one winnable game left on their schedule, and that's the after the bye week where they got the Giants.
That's it. Yep.
Then they got the Chargers. I would take the Chargers. The Steelers. I'd take the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Bills, and then the Jets.
Yeah. There's I don't know. I wouldn't even call Giants a winnable game if they're tanking to get a top 3 draft pick. They're liable to start Juju at quarterback as an emergency quarterback and just try with him. So I don't know what's going on, but the Giants are the Giants. They have their own problems, at quarterback. But Tommy DeVito gives them hope that they can beat the Patriots at least. So.
Or maybe Tyrod's back, I think. But I think he's on the IR. I think he's out 2 more games. I don't know. So who knows what happens there.
Yeah, he's out 2 more games, which means he'd miss the Patriots game.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Speaking of, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in this Browns-Ravens game, in a wild game, a game that saw the Browns block a field goal kick, a game where the Ravens looked like, in the third quarter, Scott, they were up. They had a huge lead, and the Ravens came back to win this game 33-1. I think it was at one point 24-8. So they had a 2-score lead late in this game. Deshaun Watson, 20 of 34, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jerome Ford, 17 carries for 107 yards. Kareem Hunt got in the end zone, 10 for 32. Amari had 6 for 98. David Njoku, 6 for 58. Elijah Moore, 5 for 44. You get to the Ravens. Lamar, 2 interceptions. That's what killed him, 223 yards. He ran for 8 for 41. Gus had 11 for 24 and a touchdown. Zay, 5 for 73. Odell had 1 for 40 and a touchdown. The Browns are now first place, Scott. I mean, that's where we're at here. They, the Ravens now fall to that third loss. I mean, it seems like every time we tout a team as maybe the best in the league, they come out losing after that. So maybe you don't want us to tout you the best team in the league, because we touted the Ravens as maybe the best team in the league, and here they are having an L to a Browns team in which they had a pretty big lead in. Yeah.
Okay, Tanner, the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, so good luck next week. Yeah, well, I mean, the Ravens' history with Harbaugh as their coach has been they get up big and they take their foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
And they do things in the game that make it the other team come back and get in the game. And sure enough, they did it today. He just got too conservative. Lamar wasn't staying aggressive. He was looking down the field. He was taking sacks. He wasn't taking shots down the field. Mark Andrews was a no-show except for 1 catch the whole game. I mean, he had 8 yards going into late in the third quarter, and he caught a 36-yard pass from Lamar, which Andrews did most of the running on his own. The Browns just hung in. Deshaun was injured the whole game. His ankle was big time, and
I didn't think he was coming back after halftime. Kudos to Deshaun, right? Because we've questioned his ability to want to play. So kudos to him for coming back after the injury and making it. Big Mike from the man cave, he said 31-17 with 9 minutes left in the game, and the Browns came back. So
Lamar just got conservative. They just said, we got the game in hand. We're just gonna run the ball. We're just gonna take sacks if we have to. We're not gonna turn the ball, and they turn the ball over. And then Cleveland missed the point late in the game, and you're like, Ravens got it. It's all over. Cleveland doesn't have a shot. And they got conservative, and they stayed conservative. And that's the problem with Harbaugh and the Ravens. Too conservative in these games.
Well, we're in where we're at right now, Scott. We're halfway through the season. Where do you make of this Browns team? Some team, a lot of us had them first in the really with the tiebreaker. Now they're ahead of the Ravens. But now the Steelers, who we'll talk about here in just a minute, they're also 6-3. Cincinnati lost; they fell to 5-4. But this NFC North is to me the best division in all football. 1 through 4, they all find different ways to win. Browns and Steelers seem to win very ugly games, much like both of today's games. But the Browns are 4-1 at home and 2-2 in the division, and now tied for first place. How much do you like this, the Browns, and how far you think they can go?
The Browns could get in the playoffs right now. All through going into today, all 4 teams in that division were in the playoffs. So that means the 3 wild cards came from the North. Cincinnati, we'll talk about Cincinnati in a few minutes. But I like Cleveland to make the playoffs. Win the division? I don't know. It depends on their schedule down the stretch here. But I like them to get in 6-3. We're sitting right now with 8 games left. They're a 10-win team. They can get 10 wins. And if you get 10 wins, you got a shot. And I think they're going to make the playoffs. Because look at the other divisions. The Chargers just charged themselves today. Buffalo has been struggling.
That division's only getting 1. Yeah. Houston, Jacksonville might have something to say for that. And then the Bills might have something to say for that. But the way that any of those 3 teams, Jacksonville, Tennessee, even the Bills, I think I like every team. I rate, if I had to rank them as far as how I feel about them, I still think the Ravens won. I think even though they lost today, Ravens, Cincinnati 1-2, Cleveland, and then the Steelers.
Yeah, it's going to come down to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, 2 spots, 3 teams. That's what it's going to come down to. I'll put Buffalo in there, but I got to see them play. Yeah. They're playing Denver tomorrow night. That's Denver. They should be able to beat them, but they still got some tough games down the stretch here. They're not out of the woods yet, Buffalo. So
no. And if Deshaun can play like he played today, he doesn't have to play great, but just serviceable, and manage the game a little bit. That defense is good enough to keep them in games. So
absolutely, no question. I mean, Baltimore started out aggressively, played really well for the first 2 quarters and a half, and then just charged themselves today. So
yeah. We get into the next game. My Packers lose again. It's like their 6th loss in 7 games. They lose 19-23. Jordan Love throws an interception that seals it in the waiting moments to end the game. Really, if we miss the extra point, we could, a fucking extra point can cost you. Like, we miss an extra point later in the game, then we would only need a field goal to tie instead of a touchdown. Instead, we have to, with 4 seconds left, we were down there to try to score. It's not like a Hail Mary. It was just, in the red zone. He throws the interception with about 4 seconds left. Instead of where we could have kicked a field goal to go into overtime if we would have made an extra point earlier in the game. But nonetheless, Jordan Love, 21 of 40, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, where the hell is Aaron Jones at? Only 13 carries for 35 yards. Jaden Reed, 5 for 84 and a touchdown. Outside of that, and nobody else did. Dobbs continues to catch a touchdown almost every fucking week. I feel like Christian Watson is an absolute fucking just on a milk carton. Him and Aaron Jones both are, and the Packers need to rely on both of those guys. And right now, they're on a milk carton, especially Christian Watson. I mean, he was supposed to be, this number 2 guy. He hasn't done anything. Kenny Pickett, Green Bay does a good job in the pass game, but they can't stop the fucking run, and that proved again today. As Kenny Pickett, 14 of 23, 126 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, where Jalen Warner ran for 15 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Najee, 16 of 82, 1 touchdown. This plays right into what Pittsburgh wants to do. Only 1 catch for Deontay. George Pickens, who was complaining, in the past week of not getting receptions. Well, he only caught 3 balls today. So, Scott, what do you make of this game? And, as far as the Packers stink. I mean, that's just, there's no into it. I don't know if LaFleur is going to be, if he deserves to be fired or not. We've lost a lot of close 1-score games. So in my mind, I think maybe with another year, you run it back, maybe another year with this group. And hopefully Jordan Love has learned something in these one-score games. I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know. I know he doesn't have quite the playmakers because look at Christian Watson can't fucking make a play.
Yeah. So he's 50-25, LaFleur, in his NFL career. That's 67%. So by that means you give him one more shot next year. This is just one of those Jordan Love's got to get used to playing a full season in the NFL. Christian Watson, every time Red Zone goes to this game and they throw to Christian Watson, he either drops the ball or had to steal a defender in his jersey. He can get no separation in at any time in the game and get wide open. Well, last year, he was wide open almost all the time with Aaron Rodgers. So what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, he caught 9 touchdowns and had 41 catches last year. This year, he might have 20 catches this year, maybe. He doesn't get separation. This is your number one receiver that we're talking about. So supposedly, Romeo Doubs made an outstanding touchdown catch in the corner of the end zone. Jordan Love
did
put it right where he needed to put it, where Doubs caught it. To me, Doubs is your number one. Jaden Reed's your number 2 for Green Bay. Christian Watson's not even your number 2. He's your number 3. And that's a problem.
He's nowhere to be. Problem. He's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and A.J. Dillon has usurped Aaron Jones for this rushing role because he had 9 carries for 70 yards or something like that. He had a great game today for A.J. Dillon. So, Jordan Love made some great passes during the game, but then he threw some boneheaded interceptions, some boneheaded throws. So, and that's
it seems like every time he throws to Watson, it gets intercepted. Like Watson doesn't do a great job of battling for the 50-50 balls either.
No, he doesn't. The one in the end zone was to Watson, and the Pittsburgh defender just touched him, and he just fell down. So I don't know. This
game played right into what Pittsburgh wants to do. Hey, we don't really want to sling it all over the place. Let's run the fucking ball all over with Warren and Najee. Keep this game, low scoring, and that's exactly what both teams wanted to, do, and they did that.
Yep, absolutely. And if Najee and Warren can do this for the rest of the season, Pittsburgh's going to be in great shape. Yeah, another team that could be in great shape. Well, we didn't think they were coming out of anywhere, and now all of a sudden they got shot to make the playoffs at 6-3. So,
yeah, like we just said with the NFC North, it's the best division in football. 3, maybe all 4 teams could get in. I think 4 wild card teams get in, right? So you get a division or 3 wild card teams.
4 division champs, 3 wild cards, so 7 teams altogether. So they got a shot. They got a shot.
Yeah. So maybe all 4 teams could possibly get in that division. You just never know. It looks like it's possible right now. I would rate the Steelers, like I said, dead last in that. I just don't trust their offense yet. Where I think everybody else will. I like everybody else's defense and offense on both sides of the ball. Welcome to the slap. We're going to get right game, and it was the get right game for the 49ers as Debo returned, Trent Williams returned, and life returned for the 49ers as they went to Duval and absolutely just beat the shit out of the fucking Jaguars. 34-3. Brock Purdy, 19-26, 296 yards, 3 touchdowns. 16 carries, 95 yards, no touchdowns. First time in 17 games that Christian McCaffrey failed to score a touchdown. But George Kittle had 3 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown. Ayuk 3 for 55 and a touchdown. Debo ran in for a touchdown. The Jaguars, there was absolutely nothing to talk about. I mean, bad game by Trevor Lawrence. 17-29, only 185 yards, 2 interceptions. It seems like every time the Jaguars play somebody that's real legit too, Scott, we might as well stamp the fraud alert on them because every time they play somebody good, it does not go well for them. ETN only 9 carries for 35 yards. We talked about it this morning, the disappointment of Calvin Ridley. He continues to disappoint. He only had 2 receptions for 20 yards as Christian Kirk had 6 for 104. Time to label the Jags frauds, and is everything okay now in San Francisco, or I guess Santa Clara, where they really play?
So I two narratives. One I've been saying for the last 4 weeks. If the 49ers were ahead, Brock Purdy's a different quarterback. If they had played from behind, it's a no-go with me. Purdy will not play well. And today he played well, and they stayed ahead and everything else. The thing I said in the group chat today, Trevor Lawrence is an overrated quarterback. He was the number 1 pick last year, 2 years by Jacksonville.
I don't want to say he's overrated.
He's getting there. He's getting there. He's on that path to being called overrated. He just this year he has not played well at all, and half of it's because ETN has ran the ball really well this year, and he just hasn't played well. He just hasn't. We haven't seen the Trevor Lawrence of 2022. We just haven't seen him. He's nowhere to be found. And I don't know if that guy will ever show up again. And Jacksonville, will they win the division? Probably, because the division's not very good.
I mean, Houston might have something to say about it. I mean, our
Houston
guys
have something to say about it. Absolutely.
Can we talk? Can we stop with the Stroud MVP talk?
Yeah,
he's not winning fucking MVP, you guys.
He's not yet.
He's not.
And he's rookie of the year for sure. I would give him that. MVP? No, not yet. I'd say if he does this next year, then you can have that conversation for MVP.
Yeah, he's not winning the MVP. I get it, Houston fans. You're happy your organization has turned shit around but enough with this Stroud narrative that he's MVP. He's helped and he's looked good at times. He's a runaway rookie of the year, but come on. Tyreek Hill's got a better shot, should be MVP before CJ Stroud is.
Plus, who has he played the last 2 weeks? Tampa Bay's weak defensive secondary and Cincinnati's weak defensive secondary today. So any quarterback probably could have did with Stroud.
Carlos, keep the fucking receipt all you want. He's not winning the fucking MVP. Mark it, stamp it, do what you want. Keep the fucking receipt. He deserves all the praise you get, but just get out of here with this MVP fucking talk.
Find out the last time a rookie won MVP in the NFL.
Yeah, you know who it was? The very first year they fucking nominated MVP, his name was Jim fucking Brown. That's who it was, Scott. Somebody said that.
Yep.
That's who it was.
Bobby G.
So,
rookie does not win MVP. He'll win Rookie of the Year, yes. MVP, they don't win him. The rookies do not win MVP.
He hasn't done enough to be MVP to me.
No, he has not. He hasn't consistently played to the level of Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Tua, all those quarterbacks. They've outplayed him the whole year so far. He's had 2 great games.
I'm happy that they're doing well, and again, he should be Rookie of the Year. I give him all that. But stop with the MVP talk. And I think the Texans, Scott, I do think that. Man, I'd like to see them play the Jags again. I think the Jags beat them once already. I'd like to see what happens the second time around.
Yeah, I think is Houston improving as a team? Yes. Are they going to win the division? Possibly. Are they going to make the playoffs? Not if they don't win the division. They won't. There's too many other good teams in the NFL right now. Houston's got to keep winning and keep winning. Is it a great story and a great thing for Houston to be really good? Absolutely, no question about it. But
so they got the Jaguars in 2 weeks. So next week they got the Cardinals. They did beat the Jaguars once. Or they beat the Jaguars in week 3
in Jacksonville,
37-17. Yeah.
So
they win that game. Then you owe 2 games, and you're tied with them over in the standings. But their next, so they got the Jags in 2 weeks. They got the Broncos, Jets, Titans. So those are all winnable games. They're 4.
Absolutely.
But they're down the stretch. They got a favorable schedule. They got the Browns. Then they got the Titans again, and then they got the Colts. They could very easily win that division if they beat the Jags in 2 weeks.
For the Just Fans podcast, this is exactly what you're supposed to do with the 4th place schedule. Is be good with a good quarterback, with a solid quarterback. You're supposed to do this. When you get a 1st or 2nd place schedule and you start playing the big boys of the NFL, let's see how you do. So,
well, and that's next year, but this year right now, they have nailed it. You look down the stretch, so the Jaguars got the Titans next week. Then they got the Bengals, the Browns, the Ravens. Then they got the Bucks, Panthers, Titans. They could very lose that 3 games down that stretch to the Ravens, Browns, Bengals. All 3 of them.
Yep.
They lose those 3 games and to the Texans in 2 weeks.
Texas wins the division. Texans will win the
division. Yeah. Yep.
So put a bet in now because with that schedule, it looks like the Texans can win the division.
Yeah, with the way the schedule's set, it favors Houston. I would say the schedule right now favors Houston.
It does. So will they win the division, get in the playoffs this year? Now it looks like on paper, yes. But they play the games on the field. Is C.J. Stroud playing out of his mind? Oh, no doubt. I mean, he had the bad interception. He about cost him the game, and we'll get into that game right now. The Houston does win 30-27. Houston had a 10-point lead in this game and about coughed it all the way up. They really kind of did, but they should have lost that game. If fucking Boyd catches that ball, it hits him in the hands in the end zone with about, where the Texans then have to score a touchdown instead of a game-winning field goal, they probably lose that game, and they're probably sitting at 4-5 instead of 5-4, and out the almost out of the playoff picture. But instead, them's the breaks. Boyd doesn't carry it. C.J. Stroud does an excellent job after throwing the bad interception, leading his team down for the game-winning field goal. 356 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Devin Singletary, 30 carries for 150 yards and 1 touchdown. Noah Brown, 7 for 172. He kind of had the catch that took them into the field goal range. Tank Dell, 6 for 56 and a touchdown. Joe Burrow, he had 2 interceptions in this game. He didn't play the greatest either. 347 for 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Joe Mixon, only 11 carries for 46 yards, 1 touchdown. They can't run the ball very well in Cincinnati, which cost them today and could cost them down the stretch. Jamar Chase, 5 for 124 and a touchdown. Tyler Boyd, who we told you to play, I told you guys 8 for 117, should have had the game-winning touchdown. Yep. Trenton Irwin only had 2 for 54. We told a lot of people to catch, get him, but he did have a touchdown, so at least he had that. Unfortunately, Irv Smith only had 1 reception today. So, thoughts here on this Texans-Bengals game, Scott? A game that the Bengals should have won if fucking Boyd can hold it in his hands. Kudos to the Texans for winning. Okay, red zone cut to this game a lot. Joe Burrow played recklessly, and he didn't play a Joe Burrow game. He played recklessly. He threw the ball around like it was a hot potato. Guys were intercepting it. He was missing guys. He could have had a better stat line. Boyd drops this touchdown in the end zone. But I put this game on Joe Burrow. He just played really recklessly today. He just did not play really well. He just was holding on to the ball too long. He's throwing picks. And I agree, playoffs are really possible. But you got to put this one on Joe Burrow. He needs to play better quarterback.
I put it on Boyd.
And Boyd too.
I mean, that's a game. The game, it is what it is for Burrow. He didn't play his greatest, and his defense, helped him out a little bit on the back end and made some good plays and had the interception that really the game should have been over. They should have lost that game and then they get the interception, and everything kind of goes their way. If Boyd catches that ball in the end zone, Cincinnati wins.
Right. And Stroud fueled this comeback late in the game because he threw a really bad pick. And it allowed the Bengals to gain momentum and get back in the game. And they should have won the game. Now, we don't know if they would have won the game with that Boyd catch because they still have 1:40 left to go down the field.
They got to score a touchdown instead of kicking a
touchdown. Right. And the way Stroud was moving the team down the field, it could have been possible he comes down and throws a game-winning touchdown again. But, Burrow and Boyd did not do the Bengals any favors today. And that defense was awful today for the Bengals. They couldn't stop Devin Singletary, who did nothing this year and finally did something today.
Yeah, they gave it to him 30 times. So, take note, NFL fans. It's okay, teams to give you running back 30 carries. Speaking of tale of 2 halves here, Scott, the Saints were down in this game big time. Derek Carr gets hurt. And in comes old friend Jameis, famous Winston, and he does exactly what Jameis does. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 122 yards. Derek Carr, before he got hurt, only 110 yards. Alvin Kamara, 9 carries for 42. Chris Olave, 6 for 94 and a touchdown. Most of that was with Jameis in the game, not Derek Carr. A.T. Perry caught a touchdown. Alvin Kamara, yeah, exactly. Alvin Kamara caught 7 passes. Josh Dobbs, 23 of 34, 260 yards, 1 touchdown. Ty Chandler, 15 carries, 45 yards and a touchdown. Josh Dobbs also ran in for a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson, 11 for 134 and a touchdown. Jordan Addison, 4 for 69. Scott, Minnesota has turned this thing around. They're 6-4. Can they make the playoffs with Josh Dobbs at quarterback? He looks pretty good in purple.
Yeah, they can. Because guess who's coming back in the next week or two? Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the NFL. If Josh Dobbs plays this way, they'll get in the playoffs. They will. They're not catching Detroit. Detroit's a wagon right now. They're on fire. But can they get in the wild card? Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're 6-4. Let me look at the rest of the standings here. The wild card. I agree with you. I don't think they are making the playoff. They're not going to win the division unless something crazy happens with Detroit.
Yeah.
But if the season ended today, they are the 7th seed. So technically, they're in at 6-4.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay's 4-5. That 8th or 7 teams, right? Make the playoffs.
7 teams. Yeah. 7 teams.
So yeah, they're the last. Minnesota's the last team in, and they got a 6-4. With Tampa Bay 1 game behind them, really 2 games.
So here's what I think. You take Dallas out of it, Dallas is going to make the playoffs as a wild card. Seattle's probably going to make the wild card. NFC is a wild card. Anybody in the South is going to beat Minnesota out? I don't think so. Any of the other 2 teams, Packers, Bears, going to beat Minnesota out? I don't think so. Washington's the only team that has a shot here to beat them out for the final playoff spot.
Tampa Bay has a chance.
Tampa Bay does, yeah. Tampa Bay does, but Baker could go cold at any time and blow the chances for the Buccaneers. But yeah, it's Tampa, Washington, and Minnesota for that 1 playoff spot, I think. And Washington's not doing themselves. We'll get to them later, but Minnesota's in a great position. They got Justin Jefferson coming back. Josh Dobbs can run the ball. They're really comfortable with him at quarterback. I think they're getting in. I really do at this point in the season.
It's crazy because a couple weeks ago they looked like one of the worst teams. Remember they started like 0-4, and now
they did.
They've won their last 6. They've won 6 in a row with multiple quarterbacks at the helm. And Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean? It's a team that it has no Justin Jefferson.
They've won 5 games in a row. I think they were 1-4. I think. Yeah. Now they're 5-4 for 4 games.
Kudos to KOC. He could be coach of the year right now.
Coach of the year, very easily, because nobody had any expectations that this Vikings team after the first 3 weeks were going to be in this position, and now they're in a great position to get in the playoffs because then they got to play the Bears again. I think they got to play the Packers again. I think
they got to play it twice. I don't think we've played them yet.
No,
we did. We just played him. We did play him just 2 weeks ago. That's the game that Kurt got hurt in.
Okay, all right. So yeah, they get the Packers again, the Bears again. I don't think they played the Lions yet. If they have, I don't.
Yeah, they got 2 games with the Lions. So this is their remaining schedule. They got the Broncos next Sunday night. Another fucking great Sunday night game.
Yep. Thanks, NFL.
That's a winnable game.
Yep.
They got the Bears, winnable game. The Raiders, winnable game. They could win those. The Bengals, I would probably favor the Bengals.
Yeah.
And then they got Then they got the Lions. I would favor the Lions.
Yeah.
The Packers, I'd favor I'd favor them to win that one. Then the Lions again. So
you're looking at 4 more wins at maybe worse for them if they take care of the Broncos.
10. So you're looking at 10 wins because they got 6 wins. If they get 10 wins, you usually make the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
10-7. That's playoff worthy.
No doubt. And who thought this after 3 weeks of the season that they were going? Nobody did. And now they're in a prime position to get in. They're in the 7th spot now.
They make the playoffs. I think, and with Josh Dobbs, KOC deserves to be coach of the year.
No doubt. Absolutely.
There's might be a few other guys. D'Amico Ryans, you could say could be coach of the year. as well. But
it's those two. It's those two in reality is D'Amico Ryans and Kevin O'Connell. Those are the two guys that you can favor for coaching.
Because you're telling me you went through two quarterbacks, you know what I mean? And you missed 4 games with Justin Jefferson. You absolutely have no running game.
Yep.
I mean, Minnesota could,
You basically went with Jordan Addison and nobody at wide receiver. Hawkins is tight end, but you went with Jordan Addison and Brandon Powell at wide, and you still beat the Saints. And you beat him handily, too, because the Saints, Jameis did what Jameis does. Throws picks. He threw it deep all game long. He just aired it out.
He ain't scared to fling it. He ain't. He ain't. I hope they stick with Jameis, because as an Olave owner, I love it. Hey, at least he's flinging it, and it's going all over the field. At least he's looking for Olave, I feel like, Yeah,
I think Michael Thomas's injury today was a key factor in going to Olave over and over again.
Yeah, he got hurt. Yeah.
As you said, A.T. Perry caught a touchdown. Who's that?
Yeah.
Anybody heard of him?
Either way, though, still they were going to Olave a lot, which as an Olave fantasy owner, I was like, keep Jameis playing.
That's right. In my main home league, I have Olave as one of my wide receivers with CeeDee Lamb, and Jameis keeps slinging it to him. I'm welcoming that. So
even with the loss at 5-5, the Saints are still in the playoffs with that division's so lousy. And we'll get to the other teams here in a minute, but Jesus, that team, both those teams, every team in that division stinks. And speaking of stinking, the Bucks did win. They beat 20-6, staying with that NFC South. The Bucks win 20-6 over the Titans. This game, let me ask. I tweeted this out and I asked you. I'm going to ask you, and I think I put in our group chat. How underrated is Mike Evans? Is just as a whole as this season alone, and just his career. I think when it's all said and done, we're going to look back at Mike Evans and we're going to take him for granted, because what this guy does year in and year out, he's one of the elites, and I don't think we talk about him enough as one of the elites.
He's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. He's been so consistent over his whole career, 1,000 yards every year he's been in the NFL
with multiple quarterbacks. We got to understand that too. You know what I mean? He had the Brady years, but
he had the Jameis years too. He had the Jameis years too, where Jameis was throwing picks all over the place. And Mike Evans was still catching balls. So.
Yes, he's cutting balls from the likes of or from Jameis to who was the guy right before Jameis? Remember he went to the Bears too.
It wasn't Ryan Fitzpatrick, was it?
Yeah, well, he had years with Ryan Fitzpatrick. No, he played for the Bears too. The Bears signed him to a contract. I'm gonna have to Google it now. He had a fucking huge long neck too. Bears, Bucks, QB. Hold on. What was his name? Craig would know his name if he was watching. Bucks quarterback. Let's see. I don't know. Now it won't tell me who played for the Bears and Bucks. I don't know who. Bears, Bucks.
Mike Glennon?
Yeah, that's it. Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon.
Yeah, that was the name. Yeah, guys like Mike Glennon throw him the fucking football. Like and now he's got Baker Mayfield. Like, you know what I mean? Mike Evans deserves some love, folks.
Tennessee.
Glennon, yeah.
Tennessee lost the game today because of Mike Evans. And I was poking Sam around a little bit in the group chat. And he said, he drops touchdowns. And then the 2 plays later, he caught a ball, had 2 guys on him, and he dragged him into the end zone. Tennessee lost the game because they could not cover Mike Evans today. They did. That was
they can't run the ball either. I mean,
Rachaad White's terrible.
Is Derrick Henry, is it the O-line, or is it Derrick Henry now reached the end?
He's getting close to the end here. He really
11 carries for 24 yards, only 2.2 yards average.
It takes him, when he gets the ball handed off to him, I watched this today like 3 times. It takes him 3 or 4 seconds to get going. He gets the ball and he's like, all right, body, start going. It doesn't start going until – so he had guys in the backfield around him when he got the ball handed off to him. He needs 3 or 4 seconds to get going. And as Sam said today, and I agree with him, that offensive line was putrid today for Tennessee. They were absolutely putrid today. They did not block well for Levis. They did not block well for the run game. And Levis passing the ball did nothing today. So the question that needs to be asked, and I asked this to Sam, is Levis the future quarterback for the Titans? We don't know.
Yeah, 19 to 39, only 199 yards. And we'll know more as the year goes on with him. Yeah. They've anointed him the starter the rest of the way, which they should in a season that's a wash. You got Baker Mayfield. He went 18 to 29, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rashad White, 20 for 51. Mike Evans, 6 for 143 and 1 touchdown. Chris Godwin caught 4 for 54. Rashad White also caught a touchdown in this game. But I just, it's crazy to me that how I just feel like everybody sleeps on Mike Evans all these years, and he's legit one of the top wide receivers in this league. Year.
I'd take him up to the Patriots. I'm sure you'd take him with the Packers. I mean, just keep souring on the guy. The guy's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. Everybody's got to face this fact. He's a top 10 wide receiver. He's very good at what he does. So
that's catch balls.
Yep, absolutely.
In 1,000 yards receiving every year. Stamp it.
Yeah. He's the number one. If Tampa doesn't resign him in the offseason, they're making a great mistake here. So they got to bring him back if I'm him. We get into the next one. The Lions go to the Chargers, and the Chargers, it was a close game. Lions kick a game-winning field goal. 41-38, Lions win. As time expired, Jared Goff, 20 of 33, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 12 carries, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 for 77, 2 touchdowns. Amon St. Brown, 1 for 156, 1 touchdown. Neither team played defense in this game, Scott. Justin Herbert, 27 of 40, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, 19 to 67, 3.5, 1 touchdown. Keenan Allen, 11 for 175, 2 touchdowns. He's another guy that's very underrated, I feel like. Yep.
Quentin Johnson, we talked about him this morning. Where the hell is he's got to step up? 4 for 34 and a touchdown. But nonetheless, the Lions, Jared Goff, I mean, we talked about it. If the Lions lose this game, they can start be calling frauds maybe. But Jared Goff leads the team down to a game-winning field goal and wins the game 41-38, Scott. How good is this Lions team? Are they good enough to win the whole fucking thing?
No, Philadelphia is a better team than them in the NFC.
I think the 49ers are better than them.
49ers are back as well, just in the NFC alone. But every superstar in this game stepped up and played big. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Gibbs,
Justin Herbert, David Montgomery. Yeah, they all stepped up. This is what you get when guys step up, play like they're supposed to play. You get a 41-38 game. It was fun to watch today. It was really fun. If you love points, this was the game for you. And the kickers, Riley Patterson did what he was supposed to do. Hit the game-winning field goal. Yeah. Detroit goes on the road, beats the Chargers team, who's presumed to be good. I don't believe that. And we'll hear that from Rob Logan later tonight, probably.
Staley he's got to be on his way out. I mean,
yeah, he's on his way out. He's done. Him and another guy we'll get to in a little while. They're on their way out. But I mean, Detroit stepped up, played big, took a big lead. The Chargers came back and made it a game, and the Detroit Lions put them away in the end. So, kudos to the Detroit Lions. They proved a lot today, going on the road across the country and winning a big game for them that they needed to win. So
I felt like this is a must-win game for the Chargers to get to 5 to stay above 5, get to over 500. But instead they fall to 4-5, which now that puts them 12th in the rank in the overall conference. They got to jump too many teams, and I just don't think they're going to.
No.
I'm looking at their schedule. So they do got the Packers next week, which is a favorable game. They favored by 3 points. That they could very easily win that game. Both teams stink. Well, actually, that game's in Green Bay. Green Bay's home dog at
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how many times that's ever happened.
Could be snowing and cold in that environment next week. So,
and then they're home to the Ravens. Then they got your Patriots, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Bills, the Broncos, the Chiefs. Some of those games are favorable to win, but they're the fucking Chargers. They'll find ways to fuck it all up.
In the AFC,
I don't think this team's missing the playoffs. This team's
no,
a playoff team.
In the AFC, I think 6 losses is the most you can sustain to have a reasonable shot at making the playoffs. They got 5 right now. They can lose to the Ravens. They could lose to the Bills. They could lose to the Chiefs. That give them 8 losses, 9-8. They're not making the playoffs at 9-8. They're not going. So they need to beat one of those Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, and I honestly don't.
I don't think they're beating them.
No.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think they're going to lose. They're going to lose, and they won't. They'll fire Staley, and Zach Wilson looked like he stepped out there, but he got a first down there. But yeah, I'm with you. This team out on the Chargers, they stink. Team, and I'm all in on the Lions. The Lions are going to be probably the number 2 or 3 team in the NFC as far as, standing wise.
Yep. I believe that too.
So we get into the Kyler Murray return game, and the Cardinals win 25-23. Kyler didn't. Let me get to Kyler's stats. Kyler didn't play too bad. 249 yards. Did have a lone interception. No touchdowns, but did rush for 1. James Conner, 16-73. Trey McBride, 8 of 131. Rondale Moore, 5 for 43. Then you get to the Falcons here. Heineke, did he get hurt in this game, Scott? I didn't hear what happened to him. All I saw was Ritter. I was watching Red Zone, and Heineke was in for a minute, and then all of a sudden Ritter was out, or Ritter was in. So either way, Atlanta loses. They've lost like 6 in a row or 5 in a row or some shit. 55 yards, 1 touchdown for Taylor Heineke. Bijan, 22 carries. This is a good Bijan game. 22 for 95 and a touchdown. And then Drake London, 3 for 36. He didn't do a whole lot. Jonnu, only one catch today, unfortunately. Kyle Pitts, 3 for 30. Arthur Smith's a dead man walking.
That was the other coach I was talking about with Staley. And by the way, Heineke did hurt his hamstring today, so that's why he was.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a dead coach walking. He's done. He absolutely is done. It's a winnable division, and you look like this. You played around all year long. And
you got a lot of talent.
You do. Kyle Pitts isn't being used like he should. Drake London's not being used like he should. Bijan finally got used a little bit more like he should be. You got all this talent. You're trying to be the smartest coach in the NFL. Can't do it. Use the talent you got, and he's not doing it. So,
agreed. We'll get into. There's not much to say other than the Giants. If I'm the Giants, I want to lose the rest of the games as possible, so I can get a new quarterback. But they got another dog walking. The Cowboys, who I told you, don't give me this. How about them Cowboys bullshit when you beat the lowly fucking Giants? Because that's the team. I mean, it's like beating the kid with Down syndrome up at basketball or something. The fucking, winning a race with the person who's got no legs. Let's not. But the Cowboys win 49-17. They handle business like they're supposed to. Tommy DeVito, 14 to 27, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. The guy only threw 86 yards. I mean, Jesus. Saquon, 13 for 66. There's nothing to talk about as far as the Giants offense. Dak, huge game, 404 yards, 4 touchdowns. Then they do bring in Cooper Rush. Tony Pollard, 15 for 55. Rico, is it
Dowdle? Dowdle, yeah.
12 for 79 yards, 1 touchdown. CD, 1 rush for 14 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Cooks, 9 for 173 and a touchdown. CD Lamb, 11 for 151 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Brooks. I mean, the Cowboys they did what they handled their business like they were supposed to.
Jalen Brooks was the hot dog vendor that was in section 205 selling hot dogs to the fans that started the game. So, yeah, they did what they were supposed to. I mean, Cowboys fans, please don't flood Twitter with how good you guys are. It's the New York Giants with Tommy DeVito as your quarterback. Please, lay off of it for a week. It's not even worth your breath to type in a 50-word thing. Cowboys are number 1. They're going to go all. No, it's the Giants. Come on, really?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's the Giants. We're getting a game that was closer than what I thought it should have been, Scott, and that was Seahawks Commanders.
Yeah.
Seahawks win 29-26.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 carries for 38 yards no running game for the Commanders. Brian Robinson did catch 6 for 119 and a touchdown. Antonio Gibson, 5 receptions for 42 and a touchdown. Not much out of Terry McLaurin, 4 for 33. The Seahawks, Geno, 2 touchdowns, 369 yards. Kenneth Walker, 19 carries, 63 yards. DK Metcalf, 7 for 98. Tyler Lockett, 8 for 92, 1 touchdown. So thoughts here on the Seahawks and the Commanders?
Geno Smith, where has Geno Smith been all year long for the Seahawks? He played phenomenal today. I mean, really, really well. He threw 47 times. I'm looking at the box score. 47 times for 369. Wow. DK Metcalf, who I kind of thought would go off today, did go off. The Seattle offense looked great. Washington, Sam Howell has one of these games. It's not consistent enough for the Commanders, where he throws 3 touchdowns, has a phenomenal game. But Terry McLaurin was missing today, 4 for 33. You're missing. Where are you, man? 26 points, and you throw up a 4 for 33. Come on. You got to be better than that. Washington's on this downslide now. Teams are going up. They're going down right now. They just barely beat the Patriots last week in a game they probably should have dominated them based on how the Patriots look right now. And you go up to Seattle, which is a tough place to go, and you lose this game too. So Ron Rivera is another dead coach walking, I think. I think he's going to be done at the end of the year. So, I hand it to Seattle. Seattle could have very easily quit in a couple of spots today, and they played better as the game went on. So kudos to them.
It was a little closer than what I think you'd like it to be, but Seattle gets it done. So Scott, let's get into our turd of the week. Who is your NFL Week 10 turd of the week?
So Tyler Boyd had a phenomenal game. He blew the last play of the game. 8 for 117. Everybody's like, turd of the week. He's not a turd of the week. Yeah, he is. Because when you're in a playoff race like Cincinnati is, you need to win games like this today. And Joe Burrow put it right where he should have caught it, and he didn't catch it, and he dropped it. And after the game, he's getting consoled sitting on the bench. He should. He really should. He blew the game for the Bengals today.
Yeah, he's going to think about that one for a while.
He's going to think about that for a while. So I could have gone with the Ravens, but I went with Tyler Boyd today because of what he did. So Tyler Boyd's my turd of the week.
Yeah, my turd of the week is none other than the great Hall of Famer Bill Belichick. I mean, we started the show. I said, what the hell was he thinking? What the hell? What are you thinking? 2 minutes left, and you say, you know what? Bring in the kid who hasn't thrown a fucking pass since week 5. Bring in the kid who hasn't had a whole lot of first-team reps probably all season to win us, in a 2-minute drill. Nonetheless, it was a bold strategy, and it didn't work out for him very well, Cotton, because – and then whose idea? Was it Bill's call? Was it Zappy's call? Was it Mr. Buttchin himself, O'Brien? Whose call was it to run the fake fucking spike? And then the guy threw it fucking 80 yards with 3 defenders around him. Bill Belichick absolutely gets the NFL Week 10 Turd of the Week. He may be a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, but he's also NFL Week 10 Turd of the Week.
Yeah, I agree. I hate to, but I agree.
Yeah, it's bad. Who is your dog of the week here?
So there's a bunch of guys you could go with today. My dog of the week is Mike Evans. He single-handedly beat the Titans today with big catches, dragging guys into the end zone. He dropped the pass in the end zone. He could have had a bigger game today. He was another guy that dropped a pass in the end zone. But Mike Evans, as you said, one of the most it could be the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL right now. Basically does this week in and week out and needs to be recognized by the Buccaneers with a nice contract.
Year in and year out. Not even just week in, year out. It's year in and year out.
What he does for Tampa is he allows Chris Godwin to get free underneath, and he goes deep. So my dog of the week this week is Mike Evans. 6'1", 43 and a touchdown. Could have been bigger, but it wasn't. But we'll take it.
Yeah. My NFL Week 10 dog of the week is none other than Josh Dobbs. 23 of 34, 264 yards, 1 touchdown passing, 1 touchdown rushing. More importantly, the guy's only been on the team for about a week, and he's got not 1, but 2 victories for the Vikings. As much as I claim that I hate the Vikings, but I gotta love a dog and an astronaut that is Josh Dobbs. When you barely know the names of your teammates, you didn't even know where the hell the locker room was today, and you're able to go out there and put up a victory. And we just talked about it. Get your team in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. Nobody would have thought that. So Josh Dobbs is my NFL Week 10 dog of the week.
Hey, the new turn of the week could be the Raiders here if they lay an egg tonight, which they're already starting to. So,
yeah,
this is bad.
Every win that the Jets have, even though they're all ugly wins, gives their fans hope and belief that Aaron Rodgers will come back and win the game. You know, or will come back and save them and get them in the playoffs. Which I don't think either one's going to happen.
I don't think so either. So
there's that. Scott, you got any final thoughts or anything before we get up out of here?
No, except this was one of the best weeks of the NFL when nobody expected it to be. A lot of great games this week. So, you know, I love this week for NFL wise.
Yeah, 6 games, like we said, six games. A game walk-off field goals, and then 2 of them had walk-off interceptions.
And the top wide receivers today came through: Lamb, Evans, Amon-Ra. Those guys came through big for everybody. So NFL week was a very entertaining week. Week 11 is going to have a tough time topping it, but we'll get Hurts, Tua, and Mahomes back next week. So we'll see. So
speaking of Rodgers, Mike Garofalo's report, Aaron Rodgers' goal is to return in mid-December. He told Melissa Stark, according to her report at NBC just now. So, he's looking at maybe coming back in about a month. So, with 4 games to go.
It's unbelievable. So, did 3 months after Achilles surgery?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that, but.
Most Achilles, that's where we're at in modern medicine. So kudos to him.
Yeah.
And kudos for attacking, the surgery. And kudos to, in the old, 10 years ago, you blew out your Achilles, that your career, is over. You know what I mean? Not much less even 20 years ago, a guy tears his Achilles and his career's over. And now here we are seeing people come back in possibly 3-4 months time. So
this is a 40-year-old NFL player coming back in 3 months, people. Yeah. This is not a 25-year-old guy.
Yeah. At his age too, where he's 39, almost 40 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. It gives hope for all of us older guys that we can come back quick. So
yeah. Yeah. You know what you got to do. He listens to Dolphins fuck, Scott. So you want your health to get better, go out there and listen to some Dolphins fucking.
Yeah. I know. Or go into a dark retreat someplace.
Yeah. Yeah. You could do some little ayahuasca and bada boom, bada bing.
There you go. Yep, you're back.
All your health problems are gone. You got any final thoughts or anything before we get out of here? Any other final thoughts?
No, just tomorrow night, LTS show will be back on the air with Jim Behringer and John the Grishman. So tune in. That's one of the better nights and better shows on the LTS network with those two guys. So
yeah, we'll be back on the Let's Talk Sports Network tomorrow with the Let's Talk Sports show. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. You guys know what to do. So yeah, we'll have Jonathan, Jim on. A lot of talk with both. We'll talk a little hot stove, the terrible Saints, and with Jim, man, it's a lot of college football talk. Jimbo Fisher fired. They're paying him $77 million to sit at home. Sign me up for that. So lots to talk about with over there, the Michigan stuff. So we'll talk all about the college football news with Jim, and a little wrestling news, and plus some hockey news. The Edmonton Oilers fired their man. Is it coach? Is it coach in hockey? I don't know what it is.
Coach. Head coach.
Fired his coach, fired their coach. So a lot to talk about tomorrow night with the Jim and John and the rest of the boys. So be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. I'm going to hit that outro, and let's have a night, folks. Have a good week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.